So today we're actually going to go through the first video about ordering your first Mercedes. Now we're going to start with the C class. So as you can see kind of behind me, the small to mid-size Mercedes, probably one of the most affordable and more common cars that you're going to see on the road when it comes to Mercedes. They make a fair amount of them, and then the options as far as price points, features, compatible models, and then your competing models are all very similar. So we're going to go through the website. Now, as far as the C class goes, as you can see, that when you get to the website, you want to kind of look for your model first and foremost. So up in the top, like we started yesterday, you have your tabs. So that you would go right over to sedans and you'd say, okay, I want to start with the C class. It's not small, not huge. And then now you say to yourself, what model do I start with? This is really going to be determined by what kind of car you're looking for. So if you're looking for power or features or comforts, you can kind of pick and choose between those models. Now, depending on your area, you're going to have a few different options, whether it's all-wheel drive or just the rear-wheel drive if you're more in a dry area or in the south or in California, as we've talked about before. So with the C-Class, we're going to start with the interior. So where you're going to spend most of your time when you get in your vehicle, you're in the inside, you're in the driver's seat, you're shopping with family, you're planning out, okay, you know what? I'm always driving, I'm going to be here. Husband or wife's going to be in the passenger seat, sons in the back, kids in the back, pets in the back. You kind of plan for all these things when you have that first impression in the car. The new C Class is amazing. So they have this kind of hybrid, very tech savvy appeal to them. Now, in terms of like opinions, it really depends on what you're used to. I get customers from every walk of life, and some don't have, they're not familiar with your smartphones. They don't have iPads at home, so they're not going to be either using touchscreens every day. And then you do have your tech savvy audience, consumer, who's smartphone in hand 24/7. So the idea of a home button, a back button is just second nature at this point. So they just really adapt to this system extremely quickly. Some of these customers, I barely need to show them anything because they already know. When looking at the car, so when we look at these videos, they show you the craftsmanship that goes into Mercedes. It's a luxury brand, so when you get in, you know the seats are going to be great. You know the car is not going to be just plastic. You know the stitching in the leather, the heated seats, all the buttons are going to be really nice, and it just has this finish that when you walk up, you're like, oh my god, what is this car? And then that kind of just starts a whole thing. As far as most people don't even know, as it's showing now, the ambient lights, you can any color under the rainbow, and you can even change them into multiple colors and themes, which gives you a whole new level of like personalization in the car that you see in a lot of vehicles now. It's just the way Mercedes does it just accents everything wonderfully. I'm a huge fan of that ambient lighting. This is kind of a out passenger side look of the car where you get the flat bottom steering wheel, which we'll get into in terms of those smart tech features. I'm going to cover those, but the car goes so far as to have its own personalization, profiles, fingerprint. There's a Mercedes Me app that you'd actually sign in, create your profile, so the car is going to recognize you when you get in the car and kind of tie everything into your preferences. Which then, if you have, husband or wife or kids that drive as well, they get in, they have their own settings, their own profiles, their own favorites, which really helps kind of make things a lot easier as far as using the car because it'll be the same when you get in it. So that kind of age-old story, you get in after someone uses your car, you don't know what they did and what menus they went into and what settings they've changed. Now you don't really have to deal with that because you just select profile, sets you right back. So getting into some of that's a little bit into the deeper features. Knowing the car is definitely the biggest step in terms of where you're going to be in the Mercedes brand because this could be your first time seeing these features or experiencing what Mercedes like their interface is or how their radio works or that profile setup may be foreign to some folks. Now the C class again, it's a great vehicle. It's not super small. Over the years they've gotten progressively bigger. So starting with the C class, this usually is my go-to to kind of get somebody in the car first. Either I'm going to start you off at if I have, for example, 10 feet from me in the office here, there's an S class where I can show you why Mercedes is Mercedes, and then what features in those trickle down to your C classes and your GLEs, your SUVs, and electric cars, and everything in the middle. But it's really nice to know that even in the C class, which is sort of considered their entry level, it still has some of the same features as their big $130,000 plus S class cars. So first, we're going to go ahead and go into the C class. So again, four-door sedan, pretty good size. It can seat five adults, a little bit tight in the back seat, but very comfortable. There's two versions of this car, so we're going to go right ahead. We're going to go into build. Again, this is something you could do at home. If you're on mbusa.com, you can go right into the vehicles, select that model, and you can get into building the car to really kind of get a understanding of it, and then come into the store and you're like, okay, I've seen the C class, I've built one. Show me what they are, so I can really sit in one and see this in person. So first and foremost, there's going to be, like I said in the last video, three models for your C class. That's really going to be where the journey starts. So I'm, as the salesperson and the consultant, I'm going to ask you, what do you care about most? Do you need all-wheel drive? Do you need power? Do you want power? And then most customers kind of, they'll have that answer quickly because you can immediately know, what your commute's like and what you're going to use the car for. Most customers are going to say, okay, I want all-wheel drive because of the wintertime, especially where we live in Chicagoland area. And then you do get your customers, if you look at the third model, that's the AMG version. So you can see the power difference. So if we go through them quickly, you can see the C300 and the C300 4MATIC. Same car. The 4MATIC is the all-wheel drive version of that car. So you can kind of see the price just goes up about $2,000, which is amazing. It's not a huge jump between the two. They both have the same engine and power. So 6 seconds, 0 to 60, 255 horsepower. It's a turbocharged 2-liter. Now it does have a mild hybrid component to it. Now you hear that a lot. Hybrid components. Is this an electric car? Is this a charging car? Is it plug-in? It is not. So Mercedes makes things simple. These are mild hybrid devices. So the starter in the vehicle is electric, and all it does is assist the gas engine as far as making the car work. So that hybrid component gives you about a 20 horsepower extra. That's going to apply right to the car, typically in the lower RPMs to help with turbo lag, which is kind of nice. Kind of get that little pop of power. It's nice. Helps out with that. Also, with the eco settings, kind of helps you gain some mileage back. So that's where the hybrid component comes in. You gain a mile here or two, which is great. So getting into the AMG, big differences in terms of power. Now, this is where you do want that four-door sedan, but you want the sports car feel. So getting this size car with this new engine in it, so as you can see on the website here, I'll scroll up just in case, but it has that new AMG 2-liter handcrafted engine with the exhaust gas turbocharger, giving you almost 150 horsepower extra compared to the normal C300. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and we're going to build the C43 so I can show you what options you may have. So starting with the trim, first thing you're going to see is two trims in this model. So being that it's the AMG model, you have price differences. They're very close to each other. So as you can see, you get everything, a lot of good features in the premium trim, where you go to the pinnacle and really it tells you right up front, which makes things thankfully so much easier. But it has the Mercedes Benz navigation with the augmented video, so it'll overlay your navigation onto a live feed. If you're familiar with any video games, racing cars, you have that arrows that kind of guide you right in front of your heads-up display. So that's going to have right on the windshield, you'll see arrows telling you where to turn on where you can see it as well as down on the screen. But the Burmester 3D surround system, so into music, you appreciate the really high-end audio, Dolby Atmos, those types of things when it comes to your music. If you're using uncompressed formats, you can take advantage of that 3D surround audio. And then beyond that, I mean, there's not a lot of other differences. So we're going to start with the pinnacle. We're going to go all out. We're going to do the top end here. And you can see on the Mercedes site, the first thing it gives you is a 3D render of that car that you're shopping for. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to see the outside of your car and you're going to be able to choose the color. So they show you right up front what the colors are. And right next to them, they're going to have the prices of those colors. So you can kind of see, okay, if I want Starling Blue, I'm going to see that it's an extra $750. Me personally, it's an awesome color. I think it's amazing, especially on a sportier car. I'm probably going to go blue personally. Most of the other colors are variations of whites, blacks, grays, silvers, unless you go to the matte finished gray, which if you really want a car that stands out, matte finish paints are amazing. Next thing it's going to ask you is wheels. So once you pick your wheels, you're going to say, okay, you know what? I like these wheels. Let's see what the 19 look like. And you can see it changes it automatically, so you can really see what your car is going to look like. The next two you'll see has AMG split spoke 10, so a little bit bigger. The thing to note is when you do get into the 19s and the 20s, You can ask your sales consultant when they're building the car is whether or not you can get all season tires on some of these, or if they're summer tires, and the black accent version of that same wheel. So now that you have your color and your wheels picked out, the next few features are really packages. So you have panoramic roof. Of course, I want a panoramic roof. I love that full ceiling of just glass, but it gives it that really cool look. And when you have a color like this and you have the panoramic roof, having that black kind of breaking up the blue or whichever color you're picking looks awesome. Now the night package option. So as you can see on this car, there's a lot of chrome. So the grille down here in the front of the car, around the windows, there's that chrome bezel. And then on the back, you have a little bit of chrome down by the mufflers. You'll see, if we go back to the front here, you can kind of click on these options and it'll tell you what they're going to change. So if we were to click on the night package 2, grille with the dark and vertical bars, black chrome model badges, and also body elements for the night package. So it's going to tell you, hey, here's the cost, but it's also going to tell you if you do want the night package 2, you have to add either the studio package or the night package. So we're going to make the changes. So it's going to add both night package and night package 2. And you'll see as we look back up at the car, the grille, the insert's a little bit darker. And then around the window, that chrome is now black. And on the back of the car, you can see down by the exhaust here, the bottom of the back bumper also black, and it has this really kind of sporty look to it. I really do like the night packages. I think they're amazing. When you get into the studio package, it's an even bolder version of that night package. So it's additional black elements. So the prominent, as far as the front splitter, the wraparound flicks, more dramatically shaped spoiler, and a diffuser panel on the back, so it changes quite a bit more. So it's about $2,000. That's a big add-on. So it'll remove Night Package 1, and it's going to add the Performance Studio package. And then we're going to go down here, the next two, carbon fiber. Do I want a carbon fiber wing? Sure, why not? So that gives you a carbon fiber sport spoiler on the back here. If it has a picture, it does. So really, really smaller picture. Hopefully you can kind of see that clearly. But it gives you the side mirrors. The casing's going to be carbon fiber, as well as that wing in the back. Now, if you did get the studio, it does give you a larger wing, but I'm not too concerned with that. The last two are chrome door handles. If you have rings or watches, it protects the paint. And then locking your wheels. So if you want to protect your wheels, you can go ahead and get the lock kit, which is a really good feature to have, honestly. Save your wheels from any bad situations. And once you're done there, you're done with the exterior. So starting with the inside of the car now, most of the hard work's done. So we get into the inside where you're going to spend most of your time in the inside of your vehicle. So Mercedes gives you this really neat 3D kind of drag picture where you can see all around the car. So the AMG model is going to have 5 different seat interiors. As we go through them, you have the MB text, which you're going to see a lot of literature on in different cars. So this one has sort of a combo of MB text, which is really just synthetic leather, and then microfiber, which is almost like a suede down the middle of the seat here. Now, if you do want black leather, of course, a little bit of an extra fee, but it does change out seats here. You can see the door panel changed on the side a little bit. And then you can do the black leather with the red stitching if you do prefer that sportier stitching from the first set. Now moving towards, you have the sienna brown with the black leather. I know on the website that doesn't tend to pop up for whatever reason, but the last is the power red. Now this is your sporty interior. Now it does seem a little bright for what the website's showing in person. It's still bright red, but it's a little bit more vivid on this screen, I think, compared to what it is in person. Now, as far as your next important feature, your dashboard. So when you look at your trim, you're going to have all across behind the screen there is your trim. So this one, anthracite wood, is more of a vertical kind of wood, flat with no gloss. You get into a brown ash wood, as far as kind of a glossier, more luxury feel. You have walnut, which is your kind of, again, vertical lines, more of a brown versus a black. Then you start getting into your sportier feelings as far as silver pattern, which is kind of a mesh, almost carbon fiber, simulated carbon fiber, I guess you would say. And then you have a gray, which is very close to what carbon fiber looks like. And then one of my favorites is the grain black wood with aluminum lines, so it gives it sort of this pinstripe kind of look. This I have in person here. Really, really neat interior. If you do black seats with that, amazing on the inside of the car. Then finally, given that it's an AMG, you can get actual carbon fiber going through the front of the dashboard. If you're not familiar, carbon fiber, a lot lighter, a lot stronger than your normal fiberglass and things like that. But having it in the interior is just a really, really neat look on sports cars. See that a lot on some of the sports cars. It's really good. So I think today on this one, I'm going to go with the all black leather and the carbon fiber because I do like that look. Personally, when you have the ambient lights, you have all black. I like blue, so it goes really well with all of this. We'll get down to the seat package. So you can get sport performance seats. You can get the AMG kind of Recaro racing style chair inside of these guys. Really, really cool seats. Um, if you do like that style, it's amazing. A little bit of a harder seat, but really, really cool. And then you can get the same performance seat with the massage function. So we're going to put this thing together. Why not? Let's just get massage function. Now I did notice when I switched that, you can see when you switch it, it automatically changes to the red stitching. So for me, now I got a hard choice. Do I want red stitching or do I want my all black? Now, I do like that blue. So I'm going to go back to the blue, which is going to tell me, hey, you're going back to the black leather. We're going to remove this. Again, making this process very, very easy. So I'm taking off the massage chairs. We're going to sacrifice it because I really don't personally want the red stitching. I want that all black. And this is something you can choose, and it gives you that freedom to kind of go through. Next few options at the bottom, all the boxes are just a little extras. It's going to ask me, do I want cooled seats? Absolutely. Do I want a heated steering wheel? In Chicago, yes, absolutely. Performance steering wheel with Napa and microfiber suede on the left and right. That steering wheel is definitely really nice compared to the normal one. You can see it's leather wrapped. I think I might like that microfiber. It goes really well with the AMG. So as we're building these, you can kind of see it updates the picture too. Now you can see the weight on the side with that AMG drive unit in the middle. What it does is allows you to switch your driving modes on the steering wheel versus the dynamic button in the console. So the next one is, do I want to replace my black seat belts with red? If I was going with the red stitching throughout, yeah, that'd be a really amazing option. You can see they don't charge for that. It's just really preference on whether you want red seat belts or black seat belts. If I went with that power red interior or the black with the red stitching, I think I would go for that. Do I want all season mats? No, not really super worried about that. Now you go into the options, it's going to give you the entertainment and convenience options. I know this seems like a lot. This is a process that I would always encourage people playing with at home, and then when you get with your sales consultant in the store, have them guide you through and explain what you're looking at. So that way you don't miss anything. And if there's some features you didn't quite understand that you may have not have added that you really wanted, so you can let them know, and that way you can cover it all. Personally, I always go over everything, just a quick overview. That way the customers ordering them completely understand what the features are, what they're getting, what they're giving up on. That way they're happy. That's my main concern, is to make sure you're easy process and that you're happy with your purchase, because when that car comes in, can't really go back and change it. So we want to make sure it's absolutely perfect. So a 4-zone automatic climate control. So if you do want the back seat to personalize their seat temperatures, you can kind of get that. You see that a lot in SUVs. People in the second row can kind of determine what features and heat and cool settings that they want. AMG USB or advanced USB package here. So it's basically giving you 6 USB-C chargers with fast charging capability up to 100 watts. But you also get 2 ports included in the rear center armrest as well, so people in the back seat can just fold down that armrest and have chargers versus running longer chargers up front. So I want that. I got kids. I think I would not be able to live without it. And then this ties into where if you do like your music. So I personally, if you're going to get the upgraded sound system, definitely get the acoustic glass. And one of the most important features, performance and safety, kind of Mercedes namesake. So the first one being driver's assistance package, probably one of the biggest packages you could buy for your car. Normally, if you don't get the driver's assistance package, you're still going to get backup camera, you're still going to get blind spot monitors, and you're still going to get emergency stop, but it won't give you active assists. So to go down these really quickly, the driver's assistance package, adaptive cruise control, blind spot assist, that's active, so it'll actually keep you from turning if you go to turn into a blind spot that you don't see the car, the beep was going off and you still missed it. It will actually kind of turn you a little bit and let you know, hey, there's still a car there. Brake assist with turning and cross traffic function. So they can actually see when cars are turning, cross traffic, somebody going across from an intersection, the car will kind of have sensors off to the side to tell you, hey, there's somebody coming, you need to stop. And it'll stop for you if you don't catch it, which is fantastic. So the emergency stop is kind of what I explained. Active lane change assist, lane keeping assist. So anything to do with lanes, it'll follow the lanes and kind of steer you and keep you within your lane. Also, if you put your blinker on the highway and the car senses that it can change lanes, it'll change lanes for you. So if you wanted to do a little bit more of the self-driving, you can. Active speed limit assist. So when you get into the active speed limit assist, the car has a sensor that's reading the speed limit signs as well as working with your GPS to adjust the cruise control. So as you're on the highway, you don't want to really be bothered with it. The car will up and it'll raise and lower the speed limits as you kind of pass those signs, which is it's convenient definitely if you travel or commute a lot. Some of the other ones, congestive emergency braking, so stop and go and everything. Evasive steering assist, so if you have to turn in an emergency situation to get out of the way, it'll help you in kind of maneuvering the car to keep you in control. Pre-safe plus, so if you're not familiar with pre-safe, there's actually systems that will sense impending impact. So if it'll know somebody's going too fast behind you, and it'll like tense up your seatbelt, it'll move your seat, it'll kind of get you in a place where you're going to be safe and ready for that impact. If something, hopefully not, but if something happens, it'll also it'll apply the brakes. So it'll make sure you don't get moved and kind of take some of that force off of your body in terms of that pre-safe. So now the other ones is route-based speed adaptation. You can definitely click into these and go over them in detail, but this will automatically slow down in anticipation of curves, toll booths, highway interchanges. So you'll kind of see that feeling when you're using the cruise control. So again, that's one of the bigger ones. If you like to be assisted while you're driving, if you have a long commute, highly recommended, especially if you use cruise control. Some folks don't, but if you do, it's a game changer. So now you can get just the cruise control by itself. If you don't want the entire suite of driver's assistance packages, now they've added to where $600 instead of $1,700 can specifically get just the adaptive cruise portion of that. That way, if you don't need the other stuff or you're not concerned with that, you don't have to get it all in one, essentially. Digital light headlamps, one of my favorite features. So this is really cool in terms of LED headlamps. They kind of give you that daylight look. They have curved illumination, so when you turn on the highways, it's kind of aiming and doing that. Ultra wide high beams. It also can project visual alerts on the road, which is really neat. So the icons will appear on the road as far as construction zones, pedestrians, and it's really neat when you see it kind of like broadcast out. It's like little projectors in your headlights. Being an AMG car, it's a really big feature. I'm going to click it. Is the AMG Performance Sound. So I want a button that's going to allow me to have like a open exhaust racing sound. It's kind of like a powerful mode, if you will. And then if you do take the car to a track, you're getting into the AMG side of things, you can really kind of get some performance features as far as lap times, as far as racing data. All of that is in this package. It also displays it up in the heads-up display, which is really neat. It'll give you sector times, and it's definitely on the, if you do track days, that's the thing to get. Some of the smaller features, dash cam, if you want a dash cam in the city, is probably a good idea. First aid kit. So once we've selected everything there, you're done. That's building a car. I know that was a little long-winded, being that this is an AMG, but the summary-wise, next screen, now it's going to tell you, and I showed you this screen in the last video a little bit, but it shows you, hey, here's your car, and it gives you a rundown of the features selected. So you kind of go over it and say, okay, I like the blue, I got the wheels, I got this, and then you can think to yourself, okay, I wanted those massage chairs, and you can go back and get the massage chairs. It'll let you kind of edit and go forward, and it'll tell you what each section is charging. It'll also tell you what the destination charge is. Now you'll see this a lot at dealerships. Mercedes charges $1,150 for the transportation charge, and that goes right into the sticker. It's not something the dealerships are adding in. So it tells me right now. So you can kind of see that difference is MSRP 62,700 for the base price of this vehicle. Now me going through and adding everything I wanted, I kind of went on the high end for sure. Added a bunch of features. Definitely something you don't have to do, but it does give you the option to really fine tune that. And it tells you right at the bottom. Okay, $74,105 is what I'm looking at. You can even look at payment options. You can play with zip codes, leasing options, see kind of what your payments are going to do. What I would suggest is when you get to this screen, you can share it. There's a share button right under here. under the interior picture. If you hit that share button, copy this link, then you can go right over to your email, send that to your sales consultant. So if I'm personally looking for you a car and you tell me I want a blue C class and there's none available and I'm shopping different stores, you can send me this exact build. Then I can fine tune exactly what I'm looking for to find you your car quicker or build it in the event that we can't find one and we have to order one. The turnaround on the ordering ones aren't bad. You're looking at 2-3 months as long as we know we have the car allocated. If we're in the position to build the car, the process is really straightforward. You put your deposit down, talk to your sales consultant, get everything ready to go, and they keep you informed on when your car's on the way. So really quick, that's the AMG C class, the C43, full build from start to finish. What we're going to do here, I quickly want to show you the C class 4MATIC only because of a couple of key differences. So the same system, the same process, is going to bring you to a trim line. Now, Now, the regular C class has 3 trims, not 2. So it does have the exclusive trim right in the middle, which gives you the Burmester sound system, but not the heads-up display. So it's kind of giving you a happy medium in between the two. We'll go ahead and select that just as our example. So when you get into it, very similar system. It's going to have you select your color. It's going to show you your wheel options. One real key difference I want to show you on here is there's 3 wheels. The first 3 have non-AMG wheels. Next 3 are showing AMG. So those 3 are in an AMG appearance package. So if you do like the look of the sportier version of the car, you don't want to spend that extra money on the engine or the performance side, and you just want the looks, the bumpers, the wheels, the back end of the car, give it that sporty flair without going crazy, you can do that with these 3 wheels while also selecting AMG Night Package. Now some of the bottom options are the same: panoramic roof, spoiler, chrome rear trim if you want to select that. And then when we go into the interior, a couple of key differences here is that same 3D look, and then as well as colors. So you're going to have a couple of different colors as far as these vehicles go. So I chose blue, which it'll tell you you can't choose brown with blue on the outside. I personally don't think it looks fantastic like that, but you choose beige, it'll show you what that looks like on the inside of the car, as far as all of your different colors. Now I'll show you what I ran into a little earlier with the AMG model. So it'll tell you if you want the AMG Night Package, you select a color pertaining to that or the wheel pertaining to that, and it'll allow you to add that package and go forward. Now the same thing with the interior, slightly different options, but very, very close as far as your woods, your metal weave, and then like I said, that kind of tuxedo black with the silver lines. We'll go with that. Going down, same deal here. Heated steering wheel, ventilated front seats. We're going to kind of choose those guys. And then we're going to go over to options. You can see this one's a lot easier. Not being a crazy performance car, your journey to put one together is probably about 5 steps shorter. Other features, now this one being a normal C class, doesn't have navigation built in. So if you want navigation, it's about an extra 600 bucks. And then Sirius XM as well. And really Mercedes, I think personally, they're doing this to kind of give you that freedom of choice. If you don't really use navigation, or you use CarPlay or Android Auto, you're not going to want navigation. So why would you spend extra $600 if you're going to use your phone anyways? That feature's standard. So that's something to think about there. And then the advanced USB-C, which is the same as the other, and then acoustic glass as well. Driver's assistance works exactly the same. This one, in terms of safety, rear side airbags is an option on this one, same as that digital light. Now, you'll see as we quickly went through that one, the difference in price, still getting the blue car I want, still getting some nice wheels, still getting the interior trim that I like. We're looking at a base price of $49 with all the features I want, $55,000. So the other one was $70,000. Now we saved quite a bit of money by sacrificing that sportier feel. So if I don't want or need a 400 horsepower engine, I don't necessarily have to get it. It's still really nice. It's a Mercedes. It's all-wheel drive. It gives me everything I'm going to need, everything I'm going to want to enjoy on the inside of the car, barring carbon fiber and that kind of suede steering wheel, partial to the flat bottom steering wheel. But to save, $15,000, I may not need it. And in the same way, I can just click that, grab the link here, send it to my salesperson, and say, hey, you know what? If you can't find the AMG version, I think I want to buy this one instead. And it might be a little easier to find given that they don't make a whole bunch of those. And I'm sure my salesperson would appreciate it. So for the most part, that's the C class. When you get into that, It makes your process a little easier. Now, granted, like I said before, when you do get into the C class, it's gonna make your life a lot easier having that help, having somewhere to start. That's the reason I'm making these videos is to give people, hopefully, a position where they're like, okay, I'm gonna build this car. I'm not good with computers, or I don't know anything about Mercedes. Gives you that help. Maybe play it in the background while you're building, and you kind of follow along building your own car. So that's the majority of this video. So if you hung out this far, really appreciate the time you spent with me. Definitely if you have questions in the comments, let me know. And if you either don't know where to order or don't know where to start, I can answer those questions. I can help out. If you're in the the Chicagoland area, I can actually sell you the car. We can meet in person, go through the whole process together, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy the experience. I'm very comfortable, very good at my job, and I like making the customer experience top notch, red carpet feel, I guess, if you will. But that's the gist of the C class. So that's the small to mid. They are much bigger than the older ones, so I would say small to mid now. But great features. It's a fantastic car. Again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Everybody, if you've hung out this long, like, subscribe, of course. Thank you so much for watching the video.